Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Crystal and I am a certified trauma recovery coach, okay? And today we're just gonna talk. I'm currently on my way home. It has been a long week. Happy Friday, everybody. I have not posted. I don't think I've posted in a while, maybe like in a week and a half. And again, it's because I have started a new job and yeah, I'm in training right now. So I'm trying to find time to, do what I need to do and then still make a way to post content and video for you guys, okay? Which is why we're in the car today. Anyways, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was slowing down, okay? And the importance of slowing down and just sometimes just being in the moment. And I was thinking about that because, today is Friday, so when it was time to go home, baby, okay, and I'm like this any day. When it's time to go home, it's time to go home. Now, I usually am in a rush because I have to get my kids at a certain time, and I do like to have at least 15 to 20 minutes to myself to kind of decompress from my day before I go and get them. But today, on my way home, like, it's traffic, it's Friday, and I kept hitting my brakes, and I was getting frustrated because I'm like, dang, what is going on? I'm just trying to go. And God was like, slow down, okay? And I slowed down, and just the instant like relief, okay? It was just like an instant relief of like, okay, I ain't in no rush. What am I in a rush for? Right? And it allowed me to have time to think about like, okay, girl, we in a rush to get home, but what we gonna do? We gonna go home and doom scroll. We gonna go home and, whatever it is that I do when I go home. And it's like, okay, let's get more intentional, okay? So by me slowing down, I was able to be more intentional or have an idea of what it is that I actually want to do when I get home, okay? Because like I said, if I had just continued to, be speeding, one, I would have continued to be frustrated because it's traffic. And that's out of my control, okay? Two, I probably would have just got home and doom scroll because I'm on autopilot, right? So it is very important that we just slow down sometimes. Slow down and take your time. Because what are you in a rush for? Okay? What are you in a rush for? Now, see what I'm saying? People was in a rush. She almost hit me. Being in a rush. That's neither here nor there. What else did I want to talk about? So the place that I am working at is right up the street from my apartment that I previously lived in. And it's so crazy because as I was going through, like, looking for paperwork to submit to my job or whatever that they needed, I came across my rent ledger. And it was from, I don't know if I told you guys, but I had accumulated a lot of debt with my kid's father. There was a point in time where, we had got behind on the rent or whatever. So I was just looking at it like, baby, listen, okay, we were almost $10,000 in debt. okay? And that was just rent. And when I saw that, I almost cried. Because it's like, that was just a very tough and low point in my life. And it just made me grateful for where I am today. Again, a lot of times we don't slow down to even appreciate how far we've come, or to see the changes. Like, in the moment, those changes seem so small, but when you look back on them, it's like, dang, like this was a big, or a very pivotal moment in my life, and that's how it felt for me coming across that ledger. Like, as much as I went through during that time, as much confusion that I was in, like mentally, emotionally, financially, didn't know how I was going to get out of the situation, didn't know what was going to happen. I was homeless for a period of time while my kids went to go live with their dad. And it is like, look at me now, right? Look at me now. I'm in a better spot. I'm in a better space mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And again, like at that time, it felt so devastating to be in that spot. It felt like my whole world was falling apart. Again, like this, going through the separation with my kid's father, making that decision to walk away from that relationship, even though I knew, like, oh, we're behind on rent. And I knew for a sure fact that as a single parent, my kids were way younger. I think at the time my kids were probably like 2 and 3, maybe. And they weren't in childcare and stuff like that. So I knew, like, at that time, like, I was doing Uber. I really did not have the means to get myself out of that situation. And I was still clinging onto it so bad because it provided me with a false sense of security and stability. Like, I worked so hard to get into that place. It was the place that I had envisioned, to be our family home, and so many ideas and beliefs were just tied to that place. And luckily, God walked with me through that step. And even though I did face homelessness for a period of time, I believe it was like 6 or 7 months, God even still walked with me through that. I was able to eventually leave my apartment, and I did not, like, usually, that's an eviction, period, point blank. And that was my first home. So I left the place with no eviction on my name. The lady who ended up being the new landlord was so amazing. She looked out for me and my kids and basically took us under her wing, helped us out with like resources. That year she helped me do Christmas for my girls. And it was just all around amazing. Leaving my kids with their dad was a hard decision for me because I had never been away from my kids from the day that they were born. But at that time, trying to juggle, because eventually they did get into school, but I still had to like pay tuition, and again, trying to keep up with the little bit of bills that I could sustain, and just all of the things that come with it. What was I getting at? It was a hard decision for me to leave my kids with their father, but even that, like, I remember praying. I prayed about it. I'm like, God, like, it's too much. And at that point, he was still hurt from me deciding to separate from the situation. And so he was kind of being bitter. He was being bitter. And so he would play like little games. And I remember one night I had called him because I was $20 short on the deposit for our hotel room. And he told me to figure it out. He told me to figure it out. And I said, okay, I'm going to figure it out. And you know what I did? I don't know if it was that next morning or whatever the case is, but I went and I dropped his kids off to him because I'm not abandoning them. I'm just sending them with the other parent. And you know, I'm asking you for help, which I rarely did and I still rarely do. But I'm asking you for help. And for the most part, I've been, you know, handling this situation that you helped create. Okay, I've been navigating it on my own. So now that I'm asking you for help, and bro, it's $20. You couldn't give me $20? Oh, for sure. I need to figure it out? For sure. I dropped them kids off to him. Period. And again, I remember I prayed about it because that was something tough for me to do. But after that, I got a job. Like the next week, I got a job. And so I was working my job. I was working my job and I was still doing like Uber in the mornings and stuff. And long story short, I had gotten to a place where I was able to find a apartment that I can afford. And it wasn't in the nicest area. It wasn't the biggest. It wasn't, you know, but it was something that I knew that I could afford and something that I had worked hard to get. And so I was literally at the end of my application stuff. Like they have ran everything they needed to run. And the only thing that I needed to do was go in there and sign the lease. Okay. And I don't remember if I signed the lease or not, but I remember leaving there and the landlord called me and she's like, Crystal, you got some mail, come and pick it up. And when I went to pick it up, you guys, okay, it was my Section 8, okay? And now I know, sorry y'all, I know a lot of people kind of criticize or judge people who need assistance like Section 8 or food stamps and all that. But baby, let me tell you, okay, it was a blessing. It was a blessing, okay, that stuff, that it had came like right on time. And I remember you know, taking all my paperwork back to the apartment that I was going to get. Because I'm like, you know, well, now I know I definitely qualify for this and my rent will be lower and all of that. And the lady who was helping me with my case, and she was, you know, she was like, baby, listen, go look for something else. She said, for you to get this is a blessing, and not like that, but I'm gonna be honest with you, you can find something better for you and your girls, and that's what I want you to do. And so that's what I did. Now, again, just pay attention to the little things that I'm telling you, because there are little details. Like I said, there are people who showed up for me, okay, who I believe got sent on my path during this journey to help me out, okay, to kind of ease the burdens of what I was going through and kind of guide me at the same time, okay, because the landlord who came, she could have handled that situation totally different. Now, granted, at my old apartment, they were in a lot of violation codes, and I had to call the city a few times, and they got fined for things that were wrong in my apartment, but that still could have went not in my favor, right? She gave me an extra 3 months to stay there and try to figure out what I was gonna do. And that was just grace. That was God's grace and his mercy and his blessing and presence. Okay. The next lady, when I was going to go sign the lease, okay, she could have just took my stuff, because baby, that's guaranteed income for them. She could have just took my stuff. She didn't have to tell me, like, you know what, go find something better for you and your girls. Okay. But do you see what I'm saying? And I am where I am now. Okay. And it was even still a little hard getting to where I am again. Like I'm saying, the journey to get to where I'm at today, it wasn't easy. But I did have a lot of people, again, who came, who supported me, who guided me, who helped me along my way to get here. And God is amazing like that. God will send people on your path. And again, that's another reason why it is important to just sometimes slow down. Okay? Slow down, so that you have time to process and really get to see, like, what's in front of you, what's in a moment, right? I tell people all the time, that time that I spent homeless, sleeping in my car, was one of the most grateful times in my life. Like, I was able to get hotel rooms if I needed to. Like, I would pick my kids up on the weekend, get a hotel so I could stay with them, and still be a mom and show up for them. I was still able to provide for them clothes, shoes, you know. I was still able to give back to people who were also in the same situation as me, because at the end of the day, I had a vehicle that I could go and park at Walmart, lock my doors, and make sure that I was safe and I was cool. There were other people's, I still had money to feed myself. I still had a way to provide. Okay. And I'm saying, like, that's only through the grace of God. It really is, because it could have been so much worse, So when I did have it, I was, feeding people, and just doing what I can, again, to help those who were not as fortunate as I was, being in the same position. And that's another crazy thing too, because I totally forgot about that. So after I had, let me just tell y'all, I'm just thinking about it, and it just, man, people just don't understand. Because right after, so I told y'all I got my Section 8, still going to work and stuff. Now, I ended up leaving the job because, again, I'm homeless. I needed to take time off to, look for my housing and stuff. And I had the hours. They tried to play me and told me that I could not use my hours, whatever. And so I end up leaving because, one, that's against the law. I know my laws and I know my policies. And if I don't know, I'm going to educate myself. Okay. And I believe, I started, like, getting unemployment or whatever. But maybe like a few weeks, like a month and a half later, my car broke down. Okay. My car, like, it stopped working. And again, I believe this was kind of like right after tax time. This was right after tax time. So I had my little money set aside. I had the money set aside that I was going to use for my deposit. And you know, I had some change. And so my car broke down and I was able to get another car like that. Like, because listen, and I tell people this in the most humblest way possible, okay? God don't play about me. Now, at times I may play with myself, but God don't play about me, okay? God do not play about me. And what I mean when I say that is just that, like, he is very present in my life, okay? God is very present in my life. And that is one thing I know for sure. Okay? And I feel like any of the hardships that I have gone through have taught me a lesson, or have have prepared me for a journey that I would either be taking next or taking at some point in my life. Okay? God is just like, you know, and that was one of the things that I learned in that phase of my homelessness, is that not everything happens to you. Sometimes things happen for you, for your growth, for your safety, for your betterment, right? What is it that you pray to God for? This is what I be telling my friends. What is it that you pray to God for? Okay? Because you got to understand, he can't just give you, if you're not ready for it, he can't just give it to you. And that's not him saying like, oh, you're not worthy, right? That's him saying, I have to mold you. I have to prepare you. I have to get you ready to receive what it is that you're asking for, right? Now, could I be where I'm at today had I not learned those hard lessons? Had I still been people pleasing? Had I still been afraid to speak up for myself? Had I still been chasing chasing love and in a spirit and mental mindset of lack? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because at that time, I was so used to putting myself last. I was so used to putting everybody else's wants and needs before mine. So used to trying to show up for everybody else and not showing up for myself. Okay? So used to not listening to myself and listening to what everybody else was talking about. Their opinions, how they think I should live my life, the moves they think I should make, what jobs they think are good jobs and that I should go after. All of that stuff. I was really living for other people. And I had to learn how to live for myself. Okay? And so right now, I'm just thankful. Right now, I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful. I remember on the last video, I was telling y'all, like, I was just kind of blah. I was kind of like over it, because with this job, they needed to verify some employment. They were having trouble verifying the employment. And they had reached out to me like, oh, and mind you, this was like literally 3 days before training was going to start. They reached out to me and was like, oh, we weren't able to verify this employment, so we're retracting our offer. And that's when I had made that video. I was telling y'all, like, I really did not feel like coming on there and making a video, but I wanted to be vulnerable. I wanted to share that moment with you guys. And after that, I'm glad I did, because I needed that. After that, I had a pep talk with myself, and I said, Crystal, we've come too far. We've come too far, and I'm just at the stage in life where nobody gets to decide how my life is going to pan out for me, right? Nobody in my life outside of the Most High, God, gets to tell me what my life is like for me. Okay? I am the author of the author, the illustrator, the narrator. I am that of my life. Okay? I have put in too much work, dedicated too much time, did everything that I needed to do in order to obtain this job. And guess what? I got the job, y'all. I got the job. Now, I do remember after everything worked out, I remember I was on the phone with my mom and I'm like, yeah, Mom, I just remember, I'm just thinking about being 20 something years old. I think I was like 22, 23. No. How old was I? I had my baby at 25. So I was like 24. And let me tell y'all, I used to be a big crybaby. Okay. When stuff did not work out in my life, I used to I didn't know how to process my emotions. I was so emotionally unintelligent. Okay. And so I would cry because it's like, I know I'm being done wrong, but what am I supposed to do? Which is, again, why I say, if I don't know something, I'm going to learn something. But trust and believe, I'm going to read the policy handbooks. I'm going to know the laws. I'm going to do all of that stuff because I got played. I done been played trying to work for corporate America, which is why I wasn't too fond of going back to corporate America. But the position that I have now will allow me to help other people. And if you don't know, baby, that's what I am all about. Okay? I'm going to help as many people as I can before I leave this earth. Whether that's through coaching, whether that's through humanitarian work, whether that's through jobs that I can get, that is my passion. My passion, my purpose is to really help other people. Okay? And so, yeah, I was like, Mom, I remember when I was working at the post office and they was telling me XYZ and I didn't do nothing but cry. And I'm just so proud of myself because I didn't take the no for an answer. I was like, the old me, I would have just sat there and I would have cried and I would have just been like, okay, well, I'm going to figure it out. No. That's not the me that I am today. And I wish that I could insert little clips of me back in the day. Cause baby, you would see, okay? You would see the confidence that I exude now, the authority that I have found within myself, the audacity, okay? The audacity that I have earned, okay? I did not have before, you guys. Sorry, y'all. I ain't naked. It's just my little shirt and my badge. But I did not have before. I used to be so timid, you guys. I used to be so timid and so afraid to speak up for myself. And I took so much. I took so much in love with my family, with my friends. I took so much. Now, I ain't saying I was perfect because, again, I was at a stage where I didn't know how to process that. So as I'm taking so much, I'm also dealing with that in an unhealthy way. Like, if I'm being real honest with y'all, okay, I used to act out sexually. Okay? And not saying that I would just be out here just freak-neek. Okay? No, but I'll just hear my mama in my head. Okay? She's like, always keep some change in your back pocket. I always have some change. Okay? So like if I was going through things, like when I was with my first love, if I was going through things with my first love, I had somebody that I could call. Okay, when I felt like, he was giving other girls, when I was feeling insecure, okay, and I didn't know how to talk to him about it, baby, there was somebody that I could call. Okay. Um even recently, that was younger. That's when I was like 15, 16. But even recently, even in my adult years, is what I learned is that, like, when life gets stressful, when I get to those points where it's just like, I need a break, my mind, like, always goes to, like, sex. It's like, oh my gosh, I just need a release. Oh my gosh. And it's really not even just the sex. It's what I figured out, okay, and what I had to learn about myself is really I'm not craving sex. What I'm craving is intimacy, okay? But I'm also in a space, or I was also in a space to where I'm I'm not willing to be emotionally vulnerable enough to cultivate a healthy, intimate space with somebody else, right? Like I don't want somebody all up in my business, because again, I've had a lot of lessons in love. Okay? I've had a lot of lessons in love, and there are still some things that I am working through. I was just on the phone with my friend, and she was like, "Friend, you need to figure out what you want." And I was telling her, I'm like, "Girl, honestly, I don't know what I want, because, like, that situation with my baby daddy, it kind of messed me up." Okay? And it's been 3 years. We've been separated for 3.5 years, and I've worked through a lot of stuff. And when I say that, like, we're at the point to where we can have a healthy co-parent relationship with each other for our kids. Okay? And, like, there's not a thought in my mind that I want to get back with him or none of that. Like, what I want us to both be our best selves, because that's what our kids deserve. But outside of that, there are still things that silently trigger me, right? Silently. And in order to get what I want, because eventually I would love to meet my life partner. I didn't even think about getting married before, but now I am in a stage to where I'm like, I would love to get married and build and grow with somebody, and again, have that life partner. But I know that it's going to require me to open up some doors that I have shut. And that is scary. That is scary. And I have what I call safe men. When I'm dating, I have safe men. I have men that I know is either emotionally unavailable, because it's like, if you don't open up to me, I don't have to open up to you. Or people who I'm not that interested in, I know that it's not going to go nowhere. Basically, long story short, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my time because the idea of someone getting that close to me again and me having to trust someone on that level again is fucking terrifying. Okay? So, I'm letting you guys know. Like, yes, as a trauma recovery coach, there are a lot of things that I have healed and worked through in my life, okay, and from trauma that I have had to, like, walk through and I've dealt with. But there are still some things that I am currently working on, okay? There are still some things that I'm not sure I'm ready to work on. And that's okay. And that's okay, because when I'm ready, I'll just be ready. Okay? But the thing is also, right? Within understanding that, I cannot be upset. I mean, I can, but why? But I cannot be upset for the outcomes that play out in my life. Okay? I can't get mad when men start ghosting me, or I start ghosting men, or whatever the situation is that what I'm trying to say is I'm very aware that because of my lack of wanting to change or deal with certain things right now in my life, there are certain outcomes that come with that, right? I do understand that right now, because I am not willing to do the work to heal. And it's not even I'm not willing, it's just no, I'm not willing, because I could. um I'm just not ready. I'm not ready to open myself back up. But regardless of that, I can't have expectations of meeting my forever person knowing that I'm not ready to give someone all of me. Like, I'm not even sure if I can give somebody forever yet. I know that that's what I want eventually, and eventually one day, I'm going to start opening myself back up slowly but surely. But right now, mm-mm. Right now, I really, and I'm okay with where I'm at right now. Like, sometimes, let me say that, sometimes it'd be cool, but then again, it be some of those days where I'd be like, you know what, God, I'm tired of these fuck niggas. I am tired of these Negroes. Send me my man. And God be like, you ain't ready. And I'll be like, I know, God, but I'm his. He'd be like, you is? I'ma test you. Do y'all think I passed the test? Absolutely not. I failed every single time. Every single time. Because, baby, listen, I just ain't ready. And that's okay. Anyways, we're getting way off subject. This is not about me. This is not about me. This is about you. Okay? This is about you. I'm projecting. Let me not do that. Anyways, y'all, is there anything else I wanted to talk to y'all about? No, I'm really feeling good. I'm really feeling like this is a good Friday, and it is an amazing time for you to stop and just look at where you were. Okay, for some of y'all, it may be a year ago. For some of y'all, it may be 6 months ago. For some of y'all, it could have even been yesterday. But I just want you to just take a minute, not literally a minute, take about 5, and just think about how much progress you have made. Think about how far you have come, okay? Think about that little you who did not have the answers to anything, and look at where you are now. That version of you who didn't know how, but you kept on pushing, you kept on walking, you kept on fighting, you kept going, and look at where you are now. Because I think that version of you and this version of you deserves a little bit of appreciation, a little bit of acknowledgement, because I see you, and you are amazing, and you are so strong and so resilient. Okay? And this is just a little tip that I remember just now telling my brother this. Okay? He's in jail, but he's starting his healing journey. And like I had to tell him, I said, brother, while you're on your healing journey, and yes, it is amazing to hold yourself accountable for the things that you have done, but also show yourself grace, okay? Because nobody got fucked up on their own. I'm gonna repeat that for you, okay? You didn't get where you're at today by yourself. So yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, we've done some things that we probably shouldn't have done. Yes, we've took a couple left turns, but you didn't get there by yourself. Okay? At one point, you had someone solely guiding you. At one point, someone was responsible for guiding you. At one point, the world came and they molded you and they told you who you should and shouldn't be. And you had all these people with their hands, they dirty little hands, all over your canvas, all on your GPS, all on your steering wheel and stuff. You didn't get where you're at today by yourself. Now, I'm not saying, okay, I'm not saying to omit accountability. I'm just saying to show yourself some grace, because you weren't always the person that you are today. But now that you are, you get to decide where you go, who you be, and who you are and who you become. Okay? I love y'all. I'm about to go take 15 to myself before I go get my babies. Oh, and I was thinking, okay, because my outfit's been a little tea for work. So I'm thinking, okay, it's a thought. I'm thinking that I might do next week. We'll see how it goes. I might do y'all a little, it ain't gonna be a get ready with me because I gotta get up too early for that. But like a little outfit of the day or something. Since I need to post content daily, that's what they say. I might do a little outfit of the day for y'all, so y'all can see how I'm stepping and walking into my little new job. Anyways, y'all, bye. I'll talk to you later. I hope you have a blessed Friday and a great weekend.